Okay, with this video I'd like to show you how to clean the smoke detector. If you have a GE Concord system and your smoke detector is showing up on your keypad as a trouble, you'll probably find that the device needs to be cleaned. This sensor has a diagnostic feature built in, which is very useful in determining if you've effectively cleaned the sensor. First off, locate that you have a silence test button. It has a small imprint about the size of your thumb, and there's a red LED that will flash periodically. I'll zoom in here so you can get a better view. About every 45 seconds to a minute you'll see a blink on that detector, and that's normal. What you want to do then, of course, always make sure your system's on test when working with fire alarm sensors. You can even put your Concord system in a test mode by pressing 8, your 4-digit code, and then the number 3, which gives you 15 minutes of no alarm action from your system if the device should activate. Hold the sensor test button down for 2 seconds and count the red LED flashes. This LED will flash right away once you start pressing the button, so be ready to make the count. We recommend it will always be calibrated to a blink of 5 blinks. The manufacturer may show you sometimes 6 or 7 is okay, but with the Concord it must be 5 blinks or you're going to see a trouble on your system. Here I'll start with pressing this 2 seconds. See 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blinks. The unit, I'm going to hush it. It will sound 3 beeps, so don't be startled by the sound of that there. If you didn't quite catch the amount of blinks, just give it a little bit of a pause and start again, holding it 2 seconds and count the blinks. Should be 5 blinks. If you've had a trouble on your system showing a sensor in trouble, that's when we need to make the cleaning and then retest afterwards. Let me zoom out and get a better view of what I'm doing. What you'll need is a can of compressed air. This is sold in most computer stores, camera stores. And I'll show you a very simple way of how to remove the sensor cap, which is this unit right here, without the need for an extra screwdriver as they might show you in the instructions. This device, I'll get closer, has around the circumference of this cap, where this part mates up with the main housing. If you look around as I'm circling around, a small gap or slot right there. Now they will tell you to put a screwdriver in and pry right there while you're turning counterclockwise. However, you take your thumb, put it right underneath that ledge and lift up while turning clockwise, remove it just like a cap, and then you got that unit out, and you'll see then there's a chamber, and that will also say squeeze here. Use a thumb and index finger, put thumb on one end and your index finger on the other, and squeeze as you pull it outward. Now this may be best to do with the batteries out of the sensor, because what you're going to find is, now that you see the light of day with the sensor, I'm going to take the batteries out, it's going to actually start sounding and going into alarm because your chamber will be exposed to the open air. The important thing is, most of them being mounted on the ceiling, this device right here is at a low point, dust will settle down inside of there. So take your compressed air, blow this out just like this. Make sure all the dust is clear, and also this other area in the main housing, make sure that's clear. Go ahead and reinsert the cap like this. You'll see there is a little opening right here and right here in your chamber. Get closer and you can see that. What this does is it aligns up to these 2 sensors. One is an infrared LED which emits light into the chamber. The other one is a sensor which any reflection of smoke particles inside of that chamber will be sensed by this here, and then if it reaches a certain level it activates the sensor. So you can see how I've got these sort of lined up. It will only go on there one direction. You don't want to force it. Once you have it lightly pressed down, take your thumb over both of the arrows, press on each end. You hear it click on both ends. Click, click. You see I actually got that to snap simultaneously, but most of the time you'll snap at one and the other. Once that's done, you don't need to actually put the cover back on to do your diagnostic check, your full cap. What you would want to do is give it, of course, your batteries back in the sensor. And once your batteries are back in the sensor, give it at least a minute for calibration. And I'm going to pause the video and return here in a moment. Okay, back at the desk. Now you can see I've got the cap back on of the detection chamber, but I've left this off temporarily. Until we're sure we're successful at cleaning this sensor, I'm going to leave that off in case you need to repeat the step one more. Go ahead and press the test silence button right over here. Hold it down 2 seconds and count the LED. It should flash 5 times. Remember, at the end of that 5 flashes, your sounder will sound. You can put your thumb over top of that little orifice to make it a little bit quieter. And you can see we're back to 5 flashes. You may not have seen that in the video, so I'm going to repeat that a little bit closer so you can actually see in the video the LED. Holding that 2 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blinks. Putting my finger over the sounder keeps it a bit quieter. Remove your sounder. Now that I'm back to normal, I'm going to put the cap on, and you see if you just turn it loosely all the way around, you'll find it drops in a certain spot, and then turn it until it clicks. Then you're ready to go ahead and put the unit back on the wall.